middle school right now, and I'm going to Foothill Middle School next year. And I'd like to give a special thanks to my English teacher, Mrs. Lauren. Without him, I couldn't be here. And today I'm going to talk about how when crossing the line is the right thing to do. Now you've crossed the line, Arthur. I remember my basketball coach warning me after a game. Dejected, I hung my head. Our opponent seemed so easy today that my teammates and I started making our own plays. We still scored pretty well until the last quarter. The five of us carried out a crazy play that we could never try before. We knew it was risky, but we still did it. Unfortunately, the plan went amiss and it cost us the game. The coach was ballistic. I knew what I did wrong. I'm sorry, I mumbled. But on the way home, I thought about what he said. Sure, I could admit I crossed the line. I crossed the boundaries, I broke the rules. There was a reason for the coach to be mad. The truth is, this phrase has a negative meaning. It's commonly perceived as an acceptable behavior turned unacceptable. Unacceptable. Is crossing the line always unacceptable? Or are we just assuming that crossing boundaries is bad? Can being a rule breaker ever be good? I believe crossing the line is not necessarily bad. Breaking the rules give a chance for change. The meaning of the phrase depends on how you define it. A line is a boundary, a rule you have to follow. It's something that limits you, something that controls what you do. There are two types of lines, defined by who sets the line. One that is set by yourself, and one that is set by other people. When you set a boundary for yourself, you're limiting yourself according to what you value, and what you think is right or wrong. It's called conscience, and makes up who each of us are. You should never cross that line that you create for yourself. On the other hand, boundaries that are set by others just tell you, no, you can't do this. Yes, you can only do this. You have no control over these rules. It's when these two kinds of lines don't match that you start doubting yourself. We ask this question to ourselves, what if I'm doing something right, but I'm crossing the line set by others? When you live by someone else's line, you're living by someone else's rules. When you live by someone else's rules, you're living someone else's life. Many of us do that. It's because we're afraid. Once in a while, we find somebody who lives by their own rules, by what they themselves think is right. This is when change happens. These people are the ones who see things differently, the ones who push the human race forward, the ones who change history. This is why crossing the line can sometimes be the right thing to do. Let us go back to the American Revolution. When our founding fathers wrote the Declaration of Independence and declared independence, were they crossing the line? Yes. This was outrageous at the time. Britain thought of these patriots as criminals. However, no matter how far these men crossed the line, they stuck to their own rules, their own view of freedom. During the Revolutionary War, countless men died fighting for the cause of liberty. Eventually, the founding fathers went out to create a new nation and demonstrated that the people can govern themselves. All because of a group of rule breakers decided to live by their own boundaries. We live in the United States of America today. Another example would be one of those who protested during the Civil Rights Movement. Martin Luther King crossed the line when he preached against Southern law. Rosa Parks did when she refused to give up her seat. So did numerous others. They did it willingly because they believed it was the right thing to do. They believed the line set by racists should never be heeded. And because of their belief, we live in a nation where prejudice does not govern. You can't ignore these rebels who break the rules, people who disrespect the status quo. These people changed the world because they dared to cross the line. As long as it was the right thing to do, crossing boundaries did not matter for these people. It should be the same way for all of us. No matter what we do, we should live by our own line of conduct. Somebody else's rules should never deter us from our course, or nor should intimidate us to abandon who we are. If we stick to our own rules, we're taking just one more step toward making a difference. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm going to get this part on videotape for this young lady over there. Where is she? So this is Arthur Hwang. Okay? Good. Okay, she was laughing before. I guess it doesn't go so well the second time. But anyway, congratulations, sir. And your certificate does note that you were first in regional and state. And Central Council is so happy that we have you on board. Really proud of you. And just so you know, there was another young man who also placed first in regional and state. And his name is Arthur Hwang, and he couldn't join us today. So, very good. Another great round of applause.